Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Agatha of Grow Green Girl from Grow Green Girl Healing. I'm here with Mary Petrella from Petrella Intuitive Insights. Um, and Mary, I don't know about you, I'm actually really excited about this episode. I don't know why, but lately I've been feeling really exciting, positive energy about the space we're in. And I don't know if it's because it's a new year or it's Aquarius season, and I love the sign of Aquarius. And we're going to get into talking about Age of Aquarius. That's today's theme, but we also have a few emails we want to acknowledge. We've gotten a ton of great uh, um, emails from you guys, and we appreciate each and every one of them. Please know if we haven't gotten back to you yet that we do plan to. Just want to acknowledge Kimberly for her wonderful email. We are going to get in touch with you, so just an FYI. And we also got a really interesting email from Raymond, who did give us permission to share this story. So I'll get into that. Mary, I'd like let you say hello. Do you want to add anything before I get into sharing this?
No, you're doing a great job. I'm Mary Petrella with Petrella's Ancient Healing Arts and Petrella's Intuitive Insights here on YouTube. And so please, Aggie, go ahead. I would hear this story.
Yeah. So because we do want to talk about Age of Aquarius. That's our theme for today, but we do love to acknowledge when we get some cool stories. In response to our episode on dreams, when dreams become real, we had a really interesting story submitted by Raymond. I'm just going to read his email out loud. So he's attached an image of an antique church building circa 1880s. And he said the site of that church is part of the story he's about to tell. He said this property is in extreme southern Indiana, about 5 miles from the Ohio River. It's a very remote rural county, no Walmart, no fast food, no stoplights. The nearest neighbor is about a quarter mile away with tall cornfields, seemingly perfect place to burglarize without being bothered. We'll soon see how that worked out. Interesting. In 1811, my paternal great-grandfather's grandfather left North Carolina for the frontier, and this is the area he chose to homestead. Oh, that's kind of cool. Though I was born and raised 200 miles north in the flatlands of central Indiana, my soul always felt at home in these foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. Oh, that's kind of interesting because Mary, that's kind of where your family is from too, right? The Appalachian. Yeah. Yes. So that's a cool connection.
Yeah.
Okay. He says, my wife and I bought this old church with the intention of restoring it to use as our art studio. Unfortunately, it was too badly neglected. Since the building could not be adequately secured against the roving methods, okay, we bought a used shipping container to store materials and tools in preparation of our building our retirement home. Very cool. A year or so later, I had a very intense dream that showed me the locks had been smashed and the door was open. As soon as I awakened, I knew I had to go check the property. I pulled into the churchyard, and sure enough, one of the doors was partially opened. My heart sank, and I ran to the container to find nothing taken. I secured the container with new high-tech locks and drove back to the city. So interesting. So we had one premonition dream already. That night, I had another intense dream. My wife's spirit guide is an elderly native medicine man known as Falcon. He lived in this area long ago before the white man. He introduced himself in spirit to her the first time she walked onto the property after we bought it many years ago. He and I acknowledge each other with respect when he manifests, but it's clear Pamela is the connection. However, in this dream, he made it clear that he was showing me how he protected our belongings. Oh my gosh, I'm getting shivers now. I hadn't read this story really before we started filming here. As I stood in dreamscape in dusky light, a very large, black, very ferocious bird or shadow blasted out of the container with an unearthly shriek, surprising 3 men just as the first one cracked the door open. They fled in terror. Falcon assured me they would never bother us again, nor would they remember the event, but the impact would never leave them. He also reminded me with a hint of humor that karma's a bitch and that they would probably never burglarize another building. Wow. Okay. That is some story. Mary, what do you about
dreams
that.
become real, right? When dreams become real.
Really, I mean, wow, that really gives me shivers. I really feel the truth in that. And this is so, it really struck by this spirit guide, a protector who comes. I just felt like that, ooh, I could just see that happening. So what do you think was going on there? He said he had
I think that was really
twins.
at all, really. That was Falcon working with him, in my opinion.
Hmm.
And he was able to see as the protector. Falcon works with him as well,
Hmm.
even though he makes it clear he's his wife's spirit guide.
Mhm.
Well, the two are one. So when it comes to it, Falcon definitely was working with him as well
Mm.
as his wife's protector.
I definitely felt like, yeah, he has his own connection to a past life from that area, that it's somehow his own connection to Falcon. Yeah, I agree with that.
You know what? Thank you for bringing that up because I wanted to say, uh, my mom's family is from the Appalachian area of West Virginia, right? And they always say that we have a tie to the area.
Mhm.
And I always say, I want to move back home. Well, I actually never lived there myself, but I always felt that tie. And as you know, we're looking to actually purchase now and move
Mhm.
back to the area.
Yes, yes.
So
It's
there is
so home.
there's the spirit of the Appalachian area, the lands. And I believe that there's different spirits, amongst the mountain
Mm.
range and foothills, right? There's different energies,
Most
different,
definitely.
and I do believe exactly right. He and Falcon, they actually have a recognition of each other,
Mhm.
of in the past. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Mhm.
Yeah. And I
That's our opinion. That's our opinion, Raymond.
yes, yes, there you go. And yeah, and Appalachia, I mean, that's part of um like the whole mountain range on the East Coast there, especially in that area, these are some of the oldest mountains on the planet. So I've definitely, I part of my most recent move out here in Virginia was to get closer to the mountains. So I'm so happy now that I'm relatively close to Shenandoah, and the energy here feels so different from when I was um, closer to DC. That's another episode I'm sure we could do on energies, places you live, especially now.
Right. For instance, when you go to the Rocky Mountains, Sedona, Arizona,
Mm,
I
yeah.
we could go on and on. I mean, Oregon, there's different areas all around the world,
Oh yeah.
and the energy there attracts other spirits or the spirits of the land right there. Even though some may be similar, they're all different. And to some of us, it's home.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you, Raymond, for sharing your story. It was really powerful. I appreciate it. Definitely resonates. I hope, our interpretations and thoughts on it are helpful to you. And again, just want to put out there that we do appreciate each and every one of your stories that you guys submit. So thank you so much.
Hey, and you know what? We would like to hear our viewers' opinion on Falcon,
Yeah.
um, the burglar. Was it a dream, or you know, was Raymond? Was he actually there on some level, as Falcon was showing him?
Like some kind of astral travel.
Yeah, like astral travel, exactly. What was that? So we'd like to hear our viewers' opinion on that too. You know, and once we get the one woman that sent us in orbs or what she we're gonna and once we get her permission, let's post those and see what our viewers think.
Yeah, yeah, because that left my head scratching, and I didn't really know kind of what to make of it. It certainly was really interesting, though. and we love hearing about all of these experiences that you have, because part of the point of this channel is that we have them too, and we want this to be a space for people to share. um, so yes, very cool. Okay, so
Wait, I want to say one thing that's going to lead us into our next segment here, and that is, this is exactly why we started this channel.
mhm,
Over the past couple days, I've been having conversations with Aggie and saying, do you notice that the veil's really thin? Do you notice that manifesting, whether it's what you want or don't want, do you notice the energy change and shift? And Agatha reminded me that we are in the age of Aquarius. Now, mind you, I am a reader. That's really what I do pretty much full time here on YouTube. And I read for a lot of you guys. And when I recently have been doing readings, I could see that your energies have shifted.
okay.
And then Agatha said, hey, we're in the age of Aquarius. And I have heard that term ever since I was a little girl in the 60s, right? So
Mhm.
now this is where I need a refresher. And here's the little refresher, Agatha. And I would like to know a little bit more about the age of Aquarius, which now is going to roll us into this episode, Agatha. What is the age of Aquarius?
Okay, and I'm not an expert, by the way, so this is just what I have been reading and been hearing. But you're right. Like I to my knowledge, there has been discussion of when age of Aquarius would begin since at least the 60s, with some astrologers saying that it began with the launch of Sputnik. Others I have heard say that it officially began when the Mayan calendar ended December 12th, 2012. Um, and I've heard other dates thrown out there too. And to be honest, I don't know. I think, you know, when you look at, how these ages happen, right? Our solar system, our galaxy is floating in space, and it's moving within the zodiac belt, right? Okay, and I'm not an astronomer here, so if I'm wrong, please make sure in the comments to correct me. But my understanding is that the galaxy is moving through the zodiac belt, and it takes about 26,000 years to pass through each constellation. So that is why when we say we're entering the age of Aquarius, we're lining up now with the constellation of Aquarius and that zodiac belt that surrounds us. And that's why you see the zodiac as the Earth turns. Um, Age of Aquarius, yes, it's said to be a time that's very much like the sign of Aquarius. What Aquarius is all about unconventionality, pushing the envelope, breaking barriers, ruled by Uranus, right? Uranus is the planet of like unpredictability, the future, innovation. Aquarius is also very community oriented. So the collective over the individual, you think Aquarius is the opposite of Leo, and Leo is sort of that first foray into understanding, like, who am I? Like, what is my identity, the self? And that's why Leo is always about ego. And I mean ego just in a very neutral sense, not good or bad, just who am I?
Right.
And
It's a part of all of us, right?
exactly. So Aquarius is also part of us. It's sort of the other side of that coin. It's sort of like, who am I in relation to the collective? So this age that we're in, whenever it started, and I just posted this on my Instagram because I was like, kids, we can disagree about when Age of Aquarius began, but I don't think anyone can deny now that we're in it.
Right.
And especially these movements we have seen over the past few years. When you're talking about energies shift, it just makes me laugh because, like, how often have I heard or seen a video, or seen a post or something of someone saying, like, do you feel like our energy's shifting? And now it's just sort of like, yeah, it's been doing that.
Yeah.
It feels now like it's like happening every day rather than every few months, kind of being like, huh, isn't that interesting? Like, it just feels so commonplace to say, like, oh yeah, my dreams have becoming so vivid that they're happening the next morning after I dream it, or I'm thinking of something and it's manifesting in half an hour. Like, it's so weirdly fast. It does feel like time is sped up. It does feel like we're beginning to think collectively. And I tell you what, I didn't share this. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at my microwave, 11:11. I didn't share this last year because I was really nervous about sharing any kind of channeling, even though am a reader. I was not kind of actively, you know, bringing in spirit in that way. But it was just about last year, right before, you know, like early January, I'll say, before all the drama unfolded. And I was taking a walk and I got this message, don't be afraid. This is the last gasp of resistance to the unity that is coming. And I was like, and at that time, I thought it was really to do with just, kind of trying to figure out what is real. Like we had quote unquote fake news around, like just trying to understand, like, how do we get to truth? Um, and the feeling I had gotten from that message was that there's both some return to, I guess, that inner identity. So again, almost flipping back into the Leo energy of like, who am I? But also allowing some of that ego to dissolve a little bit to embrace stepping into this larger collective identity, which is very Aquarian. So the most recent thing I had been really interested by was this drama unfolding on Wall Street between Wall Street and Reddit. And I won't get into the whole story because you can read about it. But what was super interesting to me about it, and we still haven't seen how it's going to end or the next chapter, I'll say, but the idea that this community collective online has used our digital tools, we're Aquarian, all of our digital world, the internet is totally Aquarian, to, as a collective, fight back against a really historied institution. And Wall Street has been historically really private. And I know, and private to the, point where, like, I think a lot of average people don't really understand how the stock market works, including me. So again, I'm telling this story not to reflect on stocks because I don't really know a lot about it, but more reflecting on just this idea that the collective actually has a lot of power. And that feels like the energy that we are moving into, is how do we find our power together? And in doing so, allow everyone to feel empowered, if that makes sense.
Right, right. And just like everything else, you want to keep it for love, light, peace, prosperity. It's for the good.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the common good. Yeah.
The common good. Yeah. Taking care of the earth.
Mm-hmm. And I do feel that that is the direction we're moving into. And of course, every energy that we work with has its highest potential and its lowest potential, right? So we can see that the lowest potential of Aquarius, of collective, is like, we'll say, like mob rule, mob violence, mob anything that gets out of control. But the highest ideal, the highest potential with Aquarius is banding together so that we can pool our resources and our smarts and our intelligence and our individual personalities to build something better than we could have done on our own. Kind of like this channel. Like, that's the part of the point.
Yeah, right. Right. Because, there's going to be some people that feel that, watch one of our episodes and they'll say, oh, dreaming is just your body processing that you ate pizza before you went to bed. And there's going to be other people that totally understand Raymond's story because they have had one similar. Okay. And the Age of Aquarius, I have to tell you, I feel that our gifts, our intuition, our let's just say our antennas, let's just say if we were born with antennas, I feel this is my I guess simple way of putting it is what I'm sensing and feeling. If we all have little antennas surrounding our aura, I feel that our antennas are now being cleaned, sharpened, and magnetized to where if, before, if you were clear audio, you're going to notice that you can actually hear more clearer. If you are more visual, you're going to notice that these gifts are more. For some of you who are mediums, psychics, your gifts will become more because your receptors are actually open to receiving these higher frequencies. And is that a good? That's how I'm seeing it. Is
Yeah,
that the
no, I agree. I completely agree. I definitely feel that part of this shift into the fifth dimension, which the Age of Aquarius, I feel, has helped to awaken and helped us to prepare for. Because remember, Aquarius is all about unconventionality. Not say that word, but the point is, it's getting us to shift out of the way we were thinking before to allow a new way of thinking. Because part of that receptivity, I think, is allowing the flow of spirit of source to come in, and our bodies are physically changing to allow this to happen. We've seen the magnetic field drop around the earth. Like, what's that about? And scientists have some ideas, but they don't really know. A lot of this we don't understand because it hasn't been part of our collective experience before, that we know of, at least in this version of the earth. So
right?
we're entering like this totally unknown territory, and to take advantage of what's possible, it's like it requires us, I think, to become sharper in our intuition, because that's like the strongest tool in our toolbox to operate in this new frequency. So it's kind of like, I don't know, like a chicken and the egg thing. Like, does the new frequency help us become more intuitive, or to become more intuitive so we can pick up on the frequency? I don't know. It's like how did the universe begin? I don't know. It's, to me, it's one of those mysteries that, or maybe one of the, it's like a circular kind of beginning and end. There's no saying where it came from. And maybe that doesn't really matter. But what matters is we seem to be sensing and feeling the same things, even if we're filtering it through our own experience, or we're
And
telling our own version of
some
it.
may not be able to verbalize it
Yeah.
as clear as others. We all, the people that I'm reading for, they're all saying the same thing. My mediumship skills, my psychic ability is becoming stronger. I'm sensing this, I'm feeling that. Yeah, and I'm getting a lot of that, a lot recently. Um, one of our episodes, did we do people who attract ghosts yet, Agatha?
No, that's on the docket. That's one we've been thinking about. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, you got two
So,
stories out there. We're going to be doing an episode on people who attract ghosts. So whether that's uh, spirits, energies. Some of you, it may be even cryptids, which is definitely a form of energy out there. So we'd like to hear your story. So write into us. Check us out on the link below. Send us your story. Um, but back to the Age of Aquarius, I think that is going to tie into that because we are our receptors, because of the Age of Aquarius, is allowing us to um, see, sense, and feel and have experiences that we typically didn't believe were real. And that too is a part of this Age of Aquarius.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I agree with that. I agree with that. And that's partially why I feel it's so important that we harness the highest potential of Aquarius and lean on each other, because it's this community that we're forming together of our shared experience that's
Mhm.
giving us the confidence to allow us to believe what our senses are showing us and not to feel squashed by them. And that's also why I feel like it's really important to have spaces like this where our channel isn't just like us being sort of this single authority, like I'm the one telling you what spirit's saying, but really allowing us to join together and say, like, what do you feel spirit's saying to you personally? because it's that collective knowledge and insight in channeling of information that I feel is going to be coming faster and thicker, to the point where, you know, like our roles are going to keep shifting. You know, we're active psychics. I say we actively do what we do, and I want to keep doing that. But I'm really excited to see the potential for others waking up to their own gifts and using those for the collective, for the common good, in whatever way they see fit. You know, and that doesn't mean everyone has to become like, you know, a practicing psychic with the YouTube channel, but that, you know, we're going to be acting from a place of intentional heart energy, rather than having kind of these more primal reactive moments to the environment.
Right, right,
Be
right.
creating more intentionally. Yeah. Whew.
I know, right? The Age of Aquarius. I remember they had that song. Do you remember a song?
I was
The
just listening to it because when I was like, I had it playing, and like, I guess, you know, I guess we can't play it. We'll have like copyright infringement. But I was like, Age of Aquarius, and I was dancing around my apartment, and you know, I have no windows open, and it was like, whatever, it's fine. Like I'm on the first floor, people can see me, but I don't care.
so what's the message behind that song?
Oh gosh, let me. Okay, what are the lyrics? It's there. It kind of starts like when the. I bet someone I bet someone watching this knows all the lyrics, but um I remember, you know, it kind of mentions this astrological placement, like when Mars and Venus are doing the, you know, this, and Jupiter is aligned. Um, but then it moves on to talk about like peace and harmony will come to the earth, right? Like it's a message of love and unity. And that was, I mean, maybe you know more about the song than I do, because that wasn't that written based on like a musical? It came from originally from something, and then it, but I know the band that made it or is called Fifth Dimension, which is kind of funny because now we're
Yeah,
in the fifth dimension.
if you're really into the fifth dimension work, I'd like to do a whole show on the fifth dimension,
Yeah.
and the third dimension, and just different dimensions, right? Isn't that interesting?
Well,
Right.
this shows, like you said, that you've been hearing about this since the 60s, and I think
Yes.
it just makes me appreciate too how the generations have worked together to help us move forward. Because you and I are very dear friends. You're older than me, and I know people much younger than me who are also like like even, you know, children who are like spiritually, I feel, born with some higher awareness than when I was a child. And it's really cool to see like this span of time helping to bring us to where we are right now.
You're right, right. Yeah, I could see it in my own family, in my own generations, you know, um, that, you know, awareness being stronger.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what can we do to really just basically roll? I mean, I would say when people say to me, well, you know, it's knowing what's best for you in a good, healthy way, family and friends, keep it clean because your energy, your vibration is very high. And if something is negative, it's going to affect you more deeply than it would have before because your receptors are so fine tuned, it will affect your physical body because I got to be careful with what I say, but I do read a lot of books by Dr. Caroline Myss, Myss, and she wanted to say that your biography becomes your biology,
Mm,
and um,
that's right.
that is so true. So that's why you want to keep your life, keep a clean life.
Yeah, I think that's a really excellent point, and I can attest to that personally. I feel like the older I get, the more I'm kind of allowing back, you know, into my experience that perception, and I do feel like my awareness is strengthening, but because of that, it's sort of like I have extra responsibility now to be very a good steward of my energy. And
And that includes finance and income.
income, body.
People want to be blessed with money and abundance, but they need to become good stewards. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but
Yeah.
I would have forgot. But they have to become good stewards of $20 before they can become good stewards of 200, 2,000, 200,000, etc. It's being a good steward of your money, which is energy, which is
And when you said $20 versus 200, like that made me think of just the fact that when we're trying to shift our energy, we often, we can't do huge chunks at a time. You think of what is energy, right? Vibration. You can't go from here to here instantly. You have to go here to here to here to here to here to here. And um and so oftentimes we feel like, well, why can't I be all the way here when I'm just right here? And it's like, well, you have to do one step at a time. And you're not going to get fed 15 steps by spirit if you can't follow the first. So,
correct.
and I had to remind myself of that. I don't need to get into it, but I recently went through a really awful, I'll say, growth period, but awful in that, I can probably look back now and see the lessons that were there and be thankful for them. But it was truly painful to the point where it made me physically sick. And I did have to realize, like, I'm the only one in this life who's responsible for this body and how I take care of myself. And if I don't prioritize that, if I don't honor that body and that soul that resides in it, I am, how can I call myself, a light worker, or tell other people to do,
Right.
what we need to do to rise up? And so it was really important to be responsible for myself, for inform what my own abundance was. And I really liked your point too about our extra sensitivity, because that it is, everything is like a duality, right? It's like the water bearer pours from two cups. So it's like you have choices to make here. So you're going to be extra sensitive to negative emotions, but on the other hand, you're also really sensitive to positive emotions. So I do feel like with the way we're able to manifest now, we're so much more capable than we ever were before of
Oh,
creating exactly what we want fast,
mhm.
and even faster than you think may be possible. You have to lean into that. You have to see that abundance as what's around you already and have gratitude for that $20 before you get the $200,000.
Exactly. Yes, that vibration, that attitude of gratitude. Yes, absolutely. And you know what? I that is exactly how you get from here to here.
Mm-hmm.
Act as if.
Mm-hmm. And this community too. Like, I think it is like, again, that Aquarian energy, it's lifting each other up. It's leaning on that greater collective. Like, we're all, every little bit that we're doing is counting. Every little bit is adding up to something huge, bigger than
Um,
we've done on our own.
and you know what? I think I'm noticing more families are starting to stay together.
Hmm.
Are you noticing that?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I am, but I'm really curious what you've observed, because I mean, with obviously the past year, a lot of families I have noticed have had to go back and move in together, which I think has been an interesting transition, especially like in this country. We're in America here. We've, especially I think, like, after World War II, like a lot of families became very separated. Like, you were expected to go and, live on your own and start your own little nuclear family. But I do think that is shifting. Is that what you mean?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
There's starting to be more of an inner reliance.
Yeah.
Just
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I also think I see a lot of families coming together more over a um shared values, like not necessarily blood families, but like, yeah, like you and I, we think of ourselves as family. We're not related, but we are
yes.
soul family. And
Well,
so I think I still love that.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Um, well, Aggie, I think we could wrap up this episode. What do you think?
I think so. I know. And I feel like I talked a mile a minute, but I guess I'm just really excited about Age of Aquarius and just feeling like it's it's a new year we're in and a new time. And I just feel like, wow, we are all, each and every one of us on this planet right now for a reason. We chose
And
to,
we'd like to hear their stories. We'd like to hear your stories.
we would. So please do share them. We appreciate each and every one. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye bye.